This video covers the ALEX topic, solving a word problem with two unknowns using a linear equation. So the steps to solving a word problem. So first you need to assign variables, and you're going to write your word problem as two equations. You then need to solve one equation for a single variable, substitute that into the second equation to solve for your second variable, and then substitute your second variable into either, not wither, geez, either equation in order to solve for the other. So let's work through, we're going to do 3 examples. So this video will be a little longer than a couple of the others, but this is a concept that I feel can be a sticking point and a muddy point for quite a few students. So a washer and dryer cost $799 combined. The washer costs $51 less than the dryer. What is the cost of the dryer? So it's not asking me to solve for both the cost of the washer and the dryer. It's just what's the cost of the dryer. But we're going to go ahead and do both because, we're extra. So some good variables might be W and D. So a washer and a dryer together, so W plus D in my pocketbook, costs $799. I know that my washer costs $51 less than my dryer. So if I take my washer minus 51, that's going to equal my dryer. So I have already now assigned variables W and D. That's step 1. Step 2, I'm going to write my word problem as 2 equations. Step 3 is to solve one equation for a single variable, but we already have that, so we don't need to do extra work. So this is kind of step 3. Now 4 is to substitute this second equation. Maybe I should change colors. Substitute this second equation into my first equation because they're equivalent, right? This is equal to D, so that I can substitute it in. So I have W plus W minus 51 is 799. This is D, right? And now I have an equation in one variable. That I know how to solve. So I can solve for this first variable. So I have 2W minus 51 is 799 because the first step I did was I combined like terms. Next, I'm going to go ahead and add 51 to both sides. That gives me 2W equals 850. So if I have 2W is 850, in order to isolate my variable, I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And that gives me that W equals 425. Okay, so now I know my washer was $425. Okay, so, but I'm asked to solve for my dryer. That's still a variable we don't know. So for our final step, 5, we're going to substitute this value for W back in either equation. I could pick my first equation. I could pick my second equation. It's going to give me the same answer. I'm going to take my second equation. So I have W minus 51 equals D. But now I know what W is. So I'm going to take 425 minus 51 to be my cost of my dryer. That equals 374 for the cost of my dryer. So I solved for that. I could check my answer by substituting this in, adding these two together, and making sure that, oh yeah, when I add them together, they do equal $7.99. That's a good way to check your work. Okay, let's take a minute, sit with this, pause if you need to, right? And then we'll look at our second example. Alvin's age is 3 times Elga's age. The sum of their ages is 32. What is Elga's age? Okay, so let's assign variables. We're going to go easy. How about A and E? And I'm going to use capital letters this time because I can do what I want. So I know the sum of their ages is 32. So I know A plus E is 32. Alvin's age is 3 times Elga's age. So if I take 3 times Alvin, nope. If I take 3 times Elga, let's erase that now. 3 times Elga, that's going to be equal to Alvin. So I have this solved for one variable. I can go ahead and substitute 3e in for a. So I have 3e plus e is 32. That means that 4e is 32. I go ahead and divide both sides by 4. So I get that Elga's age is 8. So Elga's 8 years old. Because this question's asking me for Elga's age, right? I now also could substitute back in and solve for Alvin's age, but that's not what this problem is asking us to do, right? So you need to be clear what a problem is asking. Because if I accidentally solve for Alvin's age and put that in, I would get that incorrect. And just in case you're wondering, Alvin would be 24. Check that yourself. Okay, example 3. A total of 512 tickets were sold for the school play. They were either adult tickets, so A, or student tickets, S. And I'm just going to put this out there. I typically don't like using S for a variable because S always looks kind of suspiciously like a 5. So I'll try really hard to make sure my S's are nice and curvy. So adult plus student tickets is 512. The number of student tickets sold was 3 times the number of adult tickets sold. The number of student tickets sold was 3 times the number of adult tickets sold. So if I take my student tickets, that's going to equal to the adult tickets times 3. 3 times the adult would equal the student. Now I'm going to go ahead and substitute for S. I'm going to substitute in 3a. So a plus 3a is 512. Make that look like a 5 because I promised I would. 4a equals 512. Divide both sides by 4. A equals 128. So the number of adult tickets was 128 adult tickets, which was what our question was asking us to find.